What's good, everybody? In my video today, we're going over rational expressions and equations. I'm going to show you guys some key things to do and not to do when solving. So it asks us in our first problem, find the expression for area. So guys, when we hear area, we automatically should know length times width. But when we're working with rational expressions, what we want to do is always check to see if we could simplify. So once I simplify this first one right here, this first rational expression, we're going to get x plus 7, x minus 7. Can't simplify the denominator anymore. It's going to stay the same. And we are going to multiply this by, and we're going to do the same thing here, guys. So I'm going to pull out a greatest common factor of 4x. Once I do, we're left with x minus 1. And then when we break this bottom part down, we're going to get x minus 7, x minus 1. Just remember, if c is positive, that means our factors are going to have the same sign, whether they're both positive or they are both negative. All right, so we went through and we factored, we broke down our rational expressions. Now we're going to see if we can cancel anything out, because this is a fraction and those fraction rules still apply. So when I look at this right here, we have x minus 1 over x minus 1. And then we can even go ahead and cross cancel x minus 7 with x minus 7. So now what is left? We have 4x at the top times x plus 7. And then on the bottom, we only have 12x squared. So we're not actually done with this problem. Let's focus on what's outside the parentheses. So if we simplify this step right here, guys, what we're going to get is x plus 7 all over 3x. So when we're talking about these rational expressions, equations, guys, it's going to test our fraction skills. And if you need some help with fractions, we have a pre-algebra playlist. Just check it out sometime when you have time. It's some really good content in there that'll help you guys with this. Okay, so that's problem number 1. So we're going to erase. And problem number 2 is very similar, but just a little bit different. All right, guys. So in our second problem, we're still working with a rectangle, but now they want us to work backwards. So they tell us, hey, you have a rectangle with the area of 5x squared plus 18x minus 8. They gave us the width, right? And now we need to figure out what is the length. So yes, we are going to divide area by width so we could get the length, but there's a key thing that we need to do first. And always remember, when we're working with rational expressions, equations, we always want to see if we could factor first. So let's look at our area and see if we could break it down at all. And I'm going to use the slip and slide method since my a term is greater than 1. Okay, so I'm focusing on this trinomial now, and I could kind of tell what my factors are. Multiply to give us 40, add to give us 18. We know one is positive, one is negative. So we're going to have x plus 20 times x minus 2. Okay, and we're not done yet. So remember with the slip and slide, whatever we multiply by, we're going to have to go back and divide both of those factors by. So we simplify to get x plus 4. That's the first one. And then the second one is going to simplify to be 5x minus 2. All right? Couldn't divide evenly, slide the 5 in front of the x. Now we're saying that this area divided by x plus 4 is going to give us our length. And like I said before, this is why fractions are so important. Cancel that out. We know our length is going to be 5x minus 2. Okay? So when we're working when we're working with these expressions, guys, always, always, always try to make sure that you just test or check to see if there's anything that could be factored, simplified, even if it's a greatest common factor. Okay. And then the last question for today. All right, guys. So, in my last problem, we're going to be talking about rational equations and how to exactly solve one. And the biggest thing we need to focus on in the first step is hey, for us to add those two, they have to have the same denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 3 so that we could have a common denominator of 9. And once we do that, we could put it all over one fraction, right? So 2x plus 3 all over 9. And this is equal to 2 over x plus 4. So what makes this tricky, guys, is that a lot of students think they need to get all of they need to get the denominator to have x plus 4 and so forth, but that's not the case. That only occurs when we need to add or subtract, all right? And we're working with unlike bases. In this, we're just trying to solve for x so we could actually create a proportion, okay, to solve for the x. So now, once we do this, we're going to cross multiply and get 2x squared plus 12 is equal to 18. So we clean this up now, and this is what we're going to get. All right, we subtracted 18 on both sides. Now, we're looking at this problem, we're saying to ourselves, all right, Mr. Peters, what do we need to do next? And understand, guys, we are trying to factor and figure out what our x's are. So I'm going to utilize the slip and slide method because our a term is greater than 2. Okay, so now we're looking for our two factors, right? We got our trinomial after the slip and slide method. We're going to put x plus 12, x minus 1. Now, just don't forget, guys, I know you guys are so good at the slip and slide method. We have to go back and divide. We have x plus 6 as our first factor. And then once we go back and divide, we can't divide evenly, so we're going to slip that in front of the x to get 2x minus 1. Now, just remember, we're talking about rational equations, right? We have an exponent of 2, so that means we need to set both of them equal to 0 like we had before. And I forgot my 0 up there, guys, sorry. So x plus 6 is equal to 0, so our first solution is x is equal to negative 6. And in our second problem, 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. So we know x is going to be equal to positive 1 over 2. So when we're talking about rational equations, rational expressions, guys, please go down, check our pre-algebra playlist. We have a lot of videos on fractions. It'll really help with this concept for you guys. We hope you liked our video today. Smash the like button for us, subscribe to our channel, and leave any comments down below for future videos that you guys would like to see. Thank you for joining me today with Algebra 1 with Mr. Peters.